I won't be as long. I really want to concentrate on, once and for all, whether there's a cartel in operation or not. My question to each of you is, do you think there's a cartel in operation? Do you think there's sufficient data to be able to support that? And what do we do then in terms of having a proper investigation to put that to bed once and for all? And if we're in crisis, we need an immediate response. So we need to get this thing done quickly. Somebody's making the money, and it's not the farmers.
The question was asked in relation to, is there a cartel in the beef? Ask any farmer at the side of a mart ring what his or her opinion is, and they'll tell you. There's 3 processors, and it's as simple as that, playing the game in it, and we're consistently running behind in terms of the price that's being obtained out of the marketplace. So you will answer that. Do I have the facts and the things? The facts are there, and I think they are there to be seen if you analyse the price and you analyse who the players are. And that is increasing. Anything that makes the situation, we need to be very careful that we're not starting to build bigger cartels. And that's something I think that we have to keep our full, not being critical of that right now. I think we have to give it a time, maybe on a pilot scheme, to look at it. But we have a cartel, and I have no problem in putting that position forward. And I think that you can bring facts to bear that might say in the standardised measurement of a cartel that maybe we don't have one. Ask any farmer again, as I said, along a ringside, and ask him, does he feel that there's a cartel playing there? And I think the answer will be yes in 100% of the case.
In relation to the cartel in the beef industry, you know, we heard what Brendan said, and I wouldn't disagree with what he says, but in terms of the lack of competition in the sector. And I think our President was very upfront on this in his presentation today, saying very clearly and asking the members of this committee to call for and support the proposition that we've put forward for an investigation into the competition, or that you would deal with that issue. And there's no point in saying to farm organisations or farmers, you know, is there a cartel, isn't there a cartel, do you have the evidence? I mean, all of the figures, all of the evidence on this are, in terms of looking at the prices and analysing those, are they're with the authorities that have the power to do that, and they're with the authorities that gather that information. In Ireland, that's the Department of Agriculture. They have all of the data on all of the cattle killed. They have every price of every animal that was killed in this country for the last 10 years. Okay? They have that data. It's available. The people that have the responsibility to ensure that we have a competitive market in this country is the CCPC. Okay? Now, when we sit down with the CCPC and we ask them about this area, they say, we need political direction on this. The only people that can give them political direction are the Minister, the government and yourselves. And the government of the day, to ensure that they're selling their cattle into a competitive market. The Minister keeps telling us he has nothing got to do with price. We feel differently on that. We feel that there's an onus of responsibility on the Minister of the day to ensure that there is a competitive market for Irish farmers to sell their cattle into.
Expected a committee of such stature to be looking at the overall, the bigger picture issues. Yes, we've been speaking about competition or lack of competition for over 20 years in the beef sector now. You know, show me a committee that's been brave enough to step up and say, we're really going to investigate this. You know, we're going to have a good look at it. We put together a report 2 years ago. You know, no committee came forward and said, we're going to come in here and see what's going here. The level of transparency within the dairy sector, and we see the complete absence of transparency within the beef sector at the moment.
Again, the whole issue, and it comes up again and again, the whole thing of lack of competition and cartels. And it's not a new idea.
But the big questions about monopolies, about the unique product we have in Ireland, about how we overcome all of these things, I think the big questions about all of those come back to the fundamental problem that, you know, in any market economy, and market economies work very well, they have to have rules. and you have to have a firm hand of government to go in from time to time and make sure people play by the rules. And that's not happening.
The Competition Authority, and you know, I think this is something that we need to get really focused on, and if we are trying to change, and the effect that feedlots are having on the marketplace, and the effect that the monopoly situation that I think factories are operating in. And yes, I think that has to be looked at. And the Competition Authority are very quick to focus in on farming practices, and I think they need to look at the way factories are operating. And you know, this has been talked about for a long time, but nothing really has ever happened on it.